Hey guys, and all welcome back to another video. In this video we'll be doing the Sunday roundup as Sydney versus Port Adelaide. As a Swans fan, that was a tough watch, as well as you had the Western Bulldogs demolition of the St Kilda Saints, especially having a lot of Saints players in the side. It was not a good thing for both Supercoach and Fantasy. So let's just jump into this video. But before we do, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload on YouTube, especially with there being the Easter Monday game today. The videos are going to be coming thick and fast when I have time, just because it slightly disrupts the schedule this week. But anyway, let's jump into this video. So, Sydney, that was a rough watch. Hayden McLean ended up top scoring for Sydney in fantasy with a 106, 16 touches, 9 marks, 3 tackles, 8 hitouts, 2 goals for. This is the biggest what could have been for him. It obviously he's not gonna be fantasy or Supercoach relevant in the long run. He ended up 2 goals for. He could have easily won them the game. Just very disappointing, I would say, in terms of just running under the ball quite a lot of times. He could have ended up with 3 or 4 more marks easily, and if he'd finished straight, Sydney probably coming out winners in a game that they did not play well in. Grundy, he's won his matchup the last 3 times, and he's turning into a really quality ruckman again after the Sydney's bye. He's actually been the best rated ruckman in the last 3 rounds, so he's definitely turning it up and switched into gear. It seems like he just needed that little run to start the year where he was struggling, but now he's definitely in the Swans' best 2 or 3 each week. He was pretty outstanding in the end. I mean, he had 11 hitouts, which beat Sweet. He had 26 touches, 9 clearances, 17 contested possessions, and just dominant. 140 basically in Supercoach. Don't think he'll be relevant in the long run, but he's definitely hit a form patch here. I don't know what his last couple scores are, but he has definitely hit a form patch. We just go to Supercoach, and then we go to players here, and then we go, we'll just go Grundy here. So you get Grundy here, who's had an 82 break even, and he has gone in the last 3 games, 113, 122, and now 139. He does have a rough run of games, I feel like, with Gold Coast next and then also GWS, but he has seemed to have towed them up in the last couple of times. So this will definitely be an interesting couple of weeks for him, as he has Essendon after that as well. Could you potentially do Brodie Grundy in and bring him in? Will be a big discussion potentially because of the lack of ruck options there. I don't think his fantasy scoring has been quite as good. Only a 103 this week, and I feel like he was around that marker last week as well. I'd need to just double check that quickly, but yeah, don't think he'll be relevant even in such a good form that he's been in the last couple of weeks, as he's averaged 97 the last 3, 83, 106, 103. That's just not good enough for top of the line, to be honest with you. You'd probably be looking at Tristan Cherry, to be honest, who just has the better tackling and everything else there, and has a more lock on the ruck contest than Brodie Grundy. Rowbottom tried his heart out, 96, 109. For those that traded Matty Roberts, he returned. I guess he showed that you don't trade these sort of premium or underpriced primos type of guys. 96, 119. It was a pretty average first half for him, if my memory serves me correct. I think he was sitting on about 50% efficiency. He had a much better second half, but just not the greatest display, I would say, from him in general. In the first half, he had 13 touches and 83% and 43%. So that is, 3 good possessions, and then also 5. So he had 8 out of 13 first half touches were effective. Second half went at 91% for and 67%. So that is 14 out of his 17 touches were efficient in the second half. So yeah, he had a much better second half, it felt like. But again, a guy that could have probably taken this game by the scruff of the neck, and really, if he was effective in the first half or even just kicked the goal here, that he missed the behind. That ends up being a 130, 135, something like that. And then you're all looking at Matt Roberts and wondering if he's now a sort of D7 candidate again. Nick Blakey really could have won Sydney the game. He had multiple shots from 50, 45 out that really should have gone through. 3 behinds, and this is why he's just not relevant. Isaac Heaney is carrying too much of a load for Sydney week in, week out. 22 touches from him as well as 2 goals just to keep Sydney in the contest. Sammy Wicks probably has reinvented himself as a defender, just not relevant. Jake Lloyd needs to go. Riley Bice coming back down to earth, I'd say. And then Chad Warner, he looks horrific. He already looks like he's Perth bound. That's how horrific he's played in the last little bit. Dane Rampy, not really fancy or SuperCoach relevant, and probably set to retire this year, you'd expect. Aaron Francis, super sub. We were all wondering why Aaron Francis was even playing as Swans fans, but he was one of the Swans' best with 3 goals, 1 from 14 touches in 33% game time. McInerney hasn't looked the same since the PCL injury last year. Ollie Florent looks just doing nothing. Braden Campbell can't impact a game. Will Hayward's 2 goals as a medium forward is all right, actually, so he probably, you'd say, gets a pass mark. James Jordan can't tag at the moment. He's had 2 horrific jobs tagging. Lewis Melican, he did all right, I think, but then again, it could have been him that left, I think Georgiades kicked a couple, so Georgiades kicked 3, so there, and then again, I think he had the Georgiades matchup, so that's probably not the greatest display when your guy kicks 3. Caden Cleary, no non-disposal work, and that really just killed his scoring. Joel Hamley did all right. I think he had the Ollie Lord matchup, and Ollie Lord kicked 1 goal and had 6 touches, so I think he won that matchup from memory. Tom McCartan shouldn't be down forward, and then you had Corey Warner and Tom Hanley, who both just didn't impact the game, and Swans have no one returning next week. So, yep, that pretty much sums up the Swans this year. Major changes going to happen. I'll probably do a video somewhere through, maybe in their bye week or something like that, when we have less videos to record about the Swans and the probable list changes I'd like to see this year. Anyway, on to Port Adelaide, trying to make this one quick as well. Zach Butters just absolutely towed the Swans up. 114, 164. He was efficient. 85% as an on-baller is ridiculous efficiency. Looks like only Alir, Georgiades, and Radigalia had better efficiency than him, and all of them are tools that barely touch the ball. So that's even crazy that he beat like the halfbacks and stuff, which was an absolute crazy game from him, especially non-disposal work as well. Kane Farrell, 106, 118, 26 touches, 11 marks. Jason Horn-Francis did pretty well as well, 104, 94, 20 touches, 9 marks, 5 tackles. Had to deal with Roberts in the second half, which was probably one of the positives. Roberts moved slightly into the midfield and he looked all right. So that's a potential move for Sydney in the future. Connor Rozee, 27 touches, 7 clangers at 70%. And kicked a goal to get to 101, 103. So for those that held him in SuperCoach, you're doing pretty well. To be honest with you, as he's definitely delivering. Willie Rowley, after all that he's copped in the last week, he had an absolutely outstanding game. I think he had the Dane Rampy matchup, but yeah, he was outstanding. Pal Pepper is delivering for those that have him in SuperCoach still. Burgoyne, Sweet's not delivering this year. Need to move off him if you still have him. And then, much like the rookies in this game, they all pretty much failed. Moraes, 30-30, he just didn't do anything, and that's probably why my SuperCoach has come a little bit back down to earth, as, yeah, Moraes did not work there. And that's pretty much this game in a nutshell. Cochrane for 99k probably is going to go up, I would expect, maybe 40k also from his 37. I think he had a minus 23 break even also, so that is beating it by 60, so... he's probably going to go up like 30k actually thinking about it. But anyway, on to the next game, which, yeah, Sunday was just a bad day for me in SuperCoach and fantasy in general. But the one shining light for me in fantasy, and I think the highest scorer on the whole weekend, was Riley Sanders, 130. I mean, in terms of the fantasy output, he was the highest scorer of Sunday. 130 from him, 114. He ended up having 32 touches, 11 marks, 4 tackles. And this is exactly what we expect. At 90% disposal efficiency, I don't know how he had a negative SuperCoach split with that. But yeah, 32 touches, 11 marks. Absolutely outstanding display by Riley. I wasn't watching this game too much. I was just sort of keeping along with it. And he's sort of just held me intact with the top 15K for fantasy, to be honest with you, after a horrific round. Bontempelli, it looked like he just wasn't actually injured. He just came back and dominated, 30 touches and 2 goals. And this is just the difference with with Sydney and other sides. If you look at it, if you look at the stats, as a midfielders, Swans have the highest possession average winner in Heaney at 22.3. That's even lower than West Coast with Liam Baker at 22.8. And multiple sides have guys 24 plus, which is even higher than Roberts, Sydney's highest one. So even Sanders going 32 touches here is really disappointing that Sydney don't have anyone that can do that. They rely on too heavily on guys just getting 24, 23, 22 and stuff like that, and not actually damaging and just hoping that their impact is huge rather than mass disposals getting the job done. Like if you look at this, you got Sanders at 32, Bont at 30, Libber at 28, Bailey Williams at 30, Bailey Dale at 32, Matt Kennedy at 22, even Ed Richards at 23, Jason Johannesson at 25, Lockie Bramble at 25, Joel Frazier at 24. So you got, what's that? At least like 5 or 6 guys in the mid-20s alongside 230 possession ball winners. Sydney just don't have that. Too many guys just sitting around that sort of 15 to 22 marker. And yeah, just a different outlook. Yeah, Bont is going to be a guy that we're going to have to probably trade in the next couple of weeks. We'll just give him a couple of weeks. He'll probably calm down a little bit, go like 130s, and then we grab him up. He will be expensive, but he's going to be a guy that we need just because he is so relevant. But 86% disposal efficiency is kind of crazy. Libber, 112. Just don't think he'll be relevant in the long run. Bailey Williams, Bailey Dale. Bailey Dale somehow only got 93 on 81% disposal efficiency. Guess it was just the efficiency of the Bulldogs that let him down a little bit in terms of it. Kennedy, Ed Richards, Johannesson, Tim English did all right as well. Joel Frazier returning a huge score for guys that held him. So that was good for him. Norton Davidson, another decent enough score. His cash gen seems to have popped again. This was his second highest score of the year, I think, across both formats. So we'll see if he can do it next week. But yeah, definitely some cash gen there from Davidson. Cleary, West, Jones, Lobb, O'Donnell, Karmas, Dolan came on pretty early. Sam Darcy has avoided ACL, but it looks like another type of fracture, which unknown timeline. I haven't even looked up the potential for it, but he looks like he'll be out for weeks to come. Then you've got St Kilda, and what a dismal display this was. Wilkie, 102, 126, 22 touches, 12 marks at 81% disposal efficiency. He was outstanding. Then you have Wangani Malira, 25, 3 and 3 on 72% disposal efficiency to get to a 99. Always saying that he's going to, no matter what happens, get between 90 and sort of that 115, 120 marker so many times. And he does it yet again. Hugo Garcia, really inefficient with ball use, but 10 tackles got him to an 84-59 split. Decent enough. Jack McRae, 83, 104, so he's coming crashing down to earth here as well. He just did not, it is what it is. 19 touches, 9 tackles, and got beaten up by his old side. Higgins, Sinclair had a horrific display as well. 21 touches, 4 marks, 1 goal at 71% disposal efficiency. Just wasn't at it today, or yesterday, I should say. And then Steele is not relevant this year. It feels like he's finally fallen back. Ari Schoenmaker feels like a guy that's going to take over in the long run from like Brad Hill. And so, yeah, he ended up 63, 66. And then Roel Marshall, again, another horrific week for him. I feel like he's going to be another guy that is just going to drop well too low. If we look at Marshall here, he's 516K with a 196 break even, and he's just gone, what was it, 53 or something? 65. So if we put the 65 in, he's still going to have a high break even, but he's going to be so low. 54K he loses. He's going to be down at 461K. I wonder if he turns this around, because his average for the year now is 86, and then he put up another 65. That gets him at 498 through 6, which is an average of like 82. So yeah, this will be interesting with Roel Marshall. Could be very cheap next year if he does move clubs or anything like that as well. But yeah, just not impacting games at all, getting beaten out in the ruck. This is a really dismal display from Roel Marshall. No non-disposal work in terms of marks and tackles. Wood was poor. Max Hall as well, 48, so he did all right. Only lost like 18 or something, 14 points to having Caden Cleary on field. So both of them had a horrific display, but Max Hall beat him out by a little bit. So there is cash in there for Hall. He will probably be moved on alongside someone else for, I would hazard a guess, someone like the Stewart, Petrarca, Pickett, someone of that mold, I think, is someone that I want to go to. And then that's it for the Sunday games. So if you did enjoy that video, there's other videos up on screen that you can click through to watch of SuperCoach and fantasy content. And I'll see you back here probably on Tuesday night or Monday night in a very late upload for either the game review or the likes of the round review for SuperCoach and fantasy. It'll probably be game review, given that will be done before the sort of lockout is lifted, I would think. So anyway, I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.